Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at J Mark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, it's at Old Fashioned FB. But before I keep going, I gotta introduce the person that's giving me the wide eyes, like I'm talking like a crazy man over there or something. You can find her on Twitter or X at the Mermark. Old habits die hard and old dabbits high hard. At the Mermark, you can call her Mer. My co-host on the pod and in life. Mer, how you doing today?
It's been a day, Justin. It's one of those days that went sideways before I could even put a bra on today.
Yeah, well, I have been there before. Maybe not.
It's a Monday. It just feels like a typical Monday. Nothing has gone as I planned. It's a Monday. I have a case of the Mondays. That's all I can tell you.
A case of the Mondays. I do sort of as well. IT, I got a new computer because mine crashed. My work computer crashed. IT told me at 9:53 this morning, hey, I'm sorry, I will get with you ASAP because it would not connect to stuff. I heard from them a little after 1. Apparently, ASAP does not mean the same thing in the IT community. But it is what it is. We got a couple things we want to talk about here. I apologize. I'm trying to get the socials posted to try to bring in some lovely people to us. But let's start with the big scenario in the family league that we talked about.
we need to circle back. If you listened to us last week, it was an interesting episode. There was a lot of talk about our family fantasy football league and the shenanigans that were going on with my mom and dad's fantasy football teams.
Yes, dropping players from non-playoff teams.
Because the trade deadline, they were trying to bypass or find a loophole to the trade deadline. And they have been educated. They weren't like doing, okay. We had to get, oh my goodness. Mom, I am very sorry for dragging your name through the mud. However, going forward in the future, they will now respect and understand that what a trade deadline means and what you can and cannot do to bypass
All right, but I have to say something. Did we clear the air? Because
oh yes, there are many things we need to clear because I apparently got carried away.
Well, no. Your dad said that I'm the one that said that's how you have to get players now, which is not true. He said, if I can't make a trade, how do I get players? I said, well, you're going to have to pick them up off the waiver wire.
My dad took that and got creative and is like, well, I can't trade, but I could pick this guy up off the waivers if he was available.
But then they were here. They were here dropping the dogs off. And I said, we can clear the air, Jamie, because Mike, your dad, she said it was your idea. And he said, well, not really. So I'm not sure.
No, but then he did. I don't know. He did say he is the one who dropped him because he said, then I immediately picked him back up, put in a waiver for him because it didn't work how I thought it was going to.
The player did get back to his roster.
Phone. He did have the number 1 waiver wire order. Yes. So you didn't have to man up with your commissioner duties and make things right. My dad put the waiver in and he was number 1 in the waiver order. he got Jahmyr Gibbs back. He did bench him, and Jahmyr Gibbs had a good day.
I know, and I texted him all through the day. I told him I would text him anytime
Oh wait,
Jahmyr Gibbs
he doesn't
had
have him yet.
Yeah, he
right?
did.
No, he does have
Yeah,
him.
he
Yeah,
got him on Saturday.
him. Yeah.
I told him I would message him every time Jahmyr Gibbs had a good play. So when
Mhm.
it was that 36-yard run, I was like, hey, he just had a 36-yard run. When he got the touchdown, I let him know. Had a better day than this. Nick says he's got some things to talk about too. Let's discuss about how there are no extra points when a kicker hits 60-plus yards for a field goal. 4 kickers have done it this year. Yeah, I saw in the settings, a 50 to 60-yard field goal is worth 5 points. A 60-plus yard field goal is still worth 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that's something that should be looked at to see if you can make it 6 in league settings. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because a 50-yarder should be not worth as much as a 60-yarder.
A 60-yarder is impressive.
Technically. Yeah, it is.
Do you really want, well, I guess it's happened. You said it's happened 4 times. Do we really want our kickers getting 60-yard bonuses?
It was your kicker in our league. My mother checking in saying she loves the side eyes you were giving me. So if you're not checking that out, head over to youtube.com/old-fashioned football. Another thing we have to talk about. Look, I have been a pretty decent.
Did we clear the air enough or efficiently on the whole family league? Because there's a lot of
Mr. and Mrs. Weasel. They know going forward how not to be Weasley.
They're still gonna have that nickname. It's just is what it is in the league. It's too late. You can't undo the 2 shenanigans you've tried to pull.
Nick is the one that dubbed you guys Mr. and Mrs. Weasel. I just want to throw that out there now, Jamie. That was not
He's not
our
even
name.
in the fantasy league.
That
He's
was
just,
Nick's
the
name
family
for
league.
you guys. So maybe you should rethink giving him some
And
raisins.
that's an outsider's opinion, by the way.
Right, true.
So this is listening to the shenanigans that have gone on in our family fantasy football league, and that's what he's deducted from it.
So before we get on to injuries, studs and duds, waiver wires, and whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a pretty big, I guess, fan. I don't know if fan's the right word. I like Patrick Mahomes. I like Patrick Mahomes a lot, but that ends now.
It ends now.
That ends now. Yes, because of the big fit and the baby he was acting like he is LeBron James or something, maybe even a Tom Brady, the way Tom Brady would throw fits.
I believe it was even earlier this season. I heard like announcers calling him the best football player in the world.
Yes. And so if you missed it, this is not how a best football player in the world acts.
No.
If you missed it, long story short, Kadarius Toney was lined up offsides. I can't tell you how many receivers. I've watched a lot of football. A lot of receivers on the line. They look at the sideline judge, the line judge, and they do this. They get confirmation that they're okay. He did not do that. He was offsides. And then
significantly.
Yeah, I
mean,
like
to where a point he should have known.
Yeah, you could definitely tell. First of all, the ball did not get thrown to him at first. It got thrown to Travis Kelce, and he started throwing a fit.
A joke.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney started pouting that he didn't get the ball, but then Travis Kelce ends up pitching it back to him. They score the touchdown, but the penalty brings it back. It happens. There are penalties in football that have brought back a lot of scores. For no matter what team you are on.
No, and I would like to point something out about this.
Yes.
Did the Chiefs not benefit from a call
in the
Super Bowl?
Yes. Yeah. Some would argue, Eagles fans would definitely argue the Chiefs won that game because of the defensive holding call. That was not defensive holding, and the ball was uncatchable. But anyways, so there's Mahomes throwing his helmet, yelling at one of the coaches. I don't know if it was Andy Reid or Matt Nagy. If it was Matt Nagy, I'd probably yell at him too. But and then the thing that that's fine. I get getting heated on the sideline. The thing that pissed me off, the thing that I am so done with Mahomes, at the end of the game, he goes up to Josh Allen, and instead of good game, man, or whatever.
Because Josh Allen said good game.
Yeah. Instead of any of that, while they meet, all he says is worst fucking call ever, and keeps going. Chirping about it.
It's just such poor sportsman.
Like Allen had anything to do with it. Anyways, just 3 times now. The Chiefs have lost 4 of the last 6 games. Maybe that's some of the reason that
he has such a poor attitude.
Right. That his receivers cannot catch the ball. I don't know. It was ridiculous. It was. I know that says nothing to do with fantasy football, but it was ridiculous. Patrick Mahomes is now on the shit list. So
There's
Be a better
been
sport.
just so much being said today too.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to be on my phone today,
Be a better sport.
Um,
That's all.
but
Yeah.
have you been paying attention to people
I've
are
seen
going
a little bit of it, but not a ton.
Mhm.
Not a ton. I just, just seeing the clip itself with Mahomes chirping at Josh Allen like that, like it's Allen's fault. Just be a better sport.
like they still put up 20.
I was gonna say one
points.
play should not define a game.
No.
And if it does, you should have played harder. You should have had a better game plan, something. Anyways, that makes me want to drink. What are we drinking today?
We are drinking, drumroll please, because we got our hands on a bottle of Driftless Glen Rye, thanks
Yes.
to your parents who found it. Did they find that in Galena?
I believe so.
Mhm.
I believe it was in Galena that they found that for us. And because everywhere we looked, we have not been able to find it.
No. So I'm very excited. And my case of the Mondays led you to right when we're getting ready to go. Like, you need to take a drink. And I took a drink and it was a little too big of a drink. And it's
Is that why you made that?
Yeah, it makes
Okay.
a strong old fashioned.
See, I thought it was really good.
It is good. It has good flavor. I'm anxious to try it on its own here.
Sure.
But it stands out in the old fashioned very well.
All right. Well, before we get to that, before we get to injuries, we
Mhm.
got to talk to you a little bit about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is awesome. It's a daily fantasy platform where you can go and set entries up to 5 fantasy projections. And with basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, let's take Cole Kmet, because I like Cole Kmet, tight end for the Bears. Plus, let's say Kyle Lowry at a 10.5 combo of 3 points made plus receptions. Book it. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy. They're the only ones doing that. So if your player gets hurt, and whether it's football or basketball, in the first half and does not come back, that's rebooted. It does not count against you. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. It's really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. And they offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. And I'll tell you what my favorite thing about this is: I can make 5 picks. Only 3 of them have to hit in my entry. In order for it to pay 1.5 times my money, 4 does 4 times, and all 5 do 5 times. Or you could just go all in and get 20 times if you don't want to have the insurance of only hitting 3. There are 2 games tonight. I'm not sure why they start at the same time. I'm not opposed to having 2 Monday night games, but I don't like that they're starting at the same time. However, it gives us more options for our Prize picks. And I'm just going to go more on all of these. Let's go more than 17.5 receiving yards for Devon Chan, more than 112 receiving yards for Tyreek Hill. Nobody can stop Hill. More than 18.5 receiving yards for Saquon Barkley, more than 57.5 rushing yards for Derrick Henry, and more than 46.5 rushing yards for Raheem Mostert. Go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and use code SGPN for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/SGPN, code SGPN. PrizePicks Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. Okay, we're back.
We're back.
I was going to ask how you did in your leagues, but I already know there's a bitter situation where I am crushing you. In fact, I think I'm going to get a penalty.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business. He played it down.
Probably getting a penalty for giving the business to your team. Really, I mean, brutal.
This is our league.
Yes.
Yeah. I made a horrible mistake. I thought I had put Fields in. I didn't.
Yes.
Justin Herbert was still.
Ouch.
I had a lovely cup of coffee yesterday morning, set my lineups. I do not know how I overlooked that. I never would have started Herbert over Fields. So that's on my bench. I did have my kicker who had 22 points against
22.
you. Thank goodness. Because
could have been 23 if 60
I did
yarders
start Nico Collins and he got like nothing.
Yes. He got hurt very early in the game.
So Justin Herbert and Nico Collins really screwed me over. Had I had Fields in, I have somebody playing tonight.
You have nobody in this league playing tonight. I have Saquon Barkley.
Oh,
and
I
I'm
don't
beating
have
you by
anybody.
14.
Are you sure?
I'm looking at it right here. You have nobody playing tonight.
No, that I started.
Oh, Romeo Dobbs,
Yeah, I just don't know that I would have.
Drake London on your bench with
Yeah, that
26.72
was upsetting because I sat him
or
in multiple
29.2.
leagues.
Sorry. Well, who knew?
I sat
It's
him
Drake
in multiple
London. Who
leagues. I
knew?
know. Anyway, I'm winning
Your
all my
mom says
sleeper
it's
leagues.
karma, by the way.
No, there's no karma for your
Mistakes.
sneakiness,
Your weaselness.
your shenanigans. I don't get karma for calling you out on that.
There's a scenario in our league. I am currently the 4th seed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With my win over you, there is a scenario where I could jump to 1st or 2nd and get a 1st round bye because I
Such
have scored the most points
BS.
in the league. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I am
It's
winning
like,
in all
yeah,
of my
shut up.
all of my sleeper leagues.
Nice.
Gonna get to steal in the Pirate League,
I believe.
and I'm winning again in our Dynasty.
I believe I will. I'm going to definitely win in the dynasty. believe I'm going to get to steal 2 from our buddy Cody Zeeb. Sorry, Cody. Get your player ready. I already think I know who I'm going to take, but I'll look at it all. I'll take it in, and I was going to have Miranda just do it because you have the powers that the coach. But it's always funny to text him right after and
Yeah.
go, "Hey, buddy."
Make him give you the
Right.
player.
That's right.
Yes,
Should-
I always just go in and I'm like, I'm just gonna steal this player off of our roster. It's such a
Rewarding.
a good feeling to go in there with my powers and pull a player from somebody.
The fantasy football playoffs start
Mm-hmm.
next week in most leagues. Nick's league has one more week, apparently, but yeah, they start in most leagues, so it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of them that I feel like I'm in some, I'm out some, and there's a handful that I'm right on the cusp, and it all depends on how the rest of tonight goes.
I think I'm gonna be out, aren't I?
You know, I was looking at that, and I believe the tiebreaker is points scored.
For the 7 and 6. Well, it'll be
Yeah, so like
7 and
I
7.
believe I said as long as you Kinsey does not outscore you by 90, you're going to be in.
Okay, then
You will be the 6th seed.
So my mistakes in this league this week. It's the most critical. Like we're down to like very critical weeks here
Yeah,
when
you
you're
can't
on the
make
line.
mistakes
And I
in
made
week 14
I
or
know
13.
you don't need to tell me this. I was so pissed that I couldn't look at the league until today. I just couldn't look at it. I could not watch it yesterday. I was so mad.
And surprisingly, I didn't rub it in all that much.
You didn't. Did you not? Yeah, I think you picked up on how angry I was. I think you knew
She's
it would have
angry.
been bad news for
Yes,
you.
that is called being a wise man. You want to talk about the injury report a little bit? We have a couple of injuries that
Let's do.
could affect your playoffs.
Well,
which
It is gonna
playoffs.
because these two quarterbacks, well, 2 of the quarterbacks. There's 3 quarterbacks we're gonna talk about.
Yes.
2 of them impact me. They're my quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is on concussion protocol. And we mentioned Justin Herbert. He fractured his index finger on his throwing hand.
Yes.
There's an MRI pending, but he's not expected to play this week
I did
in
see
the Thursday game.
Yeah, I saw just a little bit before we went live that there is going to be surgery. Surgery will depend how much he misses.
Yeah.
They're
He's meeting
done.
with
They're done. They're not going to make the playoffs. Why?
Yeah.
Why bring him back? I mean, why start him the rest of the year?
my backup is CJ Stroud. I have Justin Fields in our league, but
Yeah.
in the other league where I have Herbert, CJ Stroud
This would
is
be
my
Nick's
second.
league,
Yeah.
right?
And I am like,
You're the number 1 seed unless
Yeah.
I steal it from you.
I'm number 1. You're not stealing it from me. I just need CJ Stroud to clear concussion protocol and be fine. That's what I need. Kenny Pickett is the other quarterback. He is
Yes.
ruled out for this weekend. Trubisky will be starting again.
Yes. It is December and the window to our podcasting room / my office is open.
Mhm.
The noise of the car going by alarmed me a little because I forgot
Little
it was open. But you wanted me to
Ambiance
start
for
a
the
fire
podcast.
tonight, and it is very warm in
Well,
this room.
I don't know. Like, your mom is going to appreciate this comment because she often comes over to her house and she is so cold. She has to wear her coat. She has to have a blanket. She's always freezing. But I function at a certain degree. Like, if it is winter and it is if we have our thermostat is usually set to 69.
Nice.
And I knew I was leaving room for you because I know you. I don't like to sleep if it's 70 or above. I like to be cold when I sleep. I like to have extra blankets. But in the winter, 69 degrees feels a lot different than in the summer. Even in the summer, sometimes it's a little chilly. But we get to a point where like our house isn't evenly heated at 69 degrees. So areas of our house are colder, and I don't function well if I'm too cold. Like if I'm shivering during the day, I'm not functioning. My brain isn't as active as it should be, and I'm focused on how cold I am, and I need it to be warm. And yes, you said 46 degrees outside is too warm to be starting a fire in the wood burner to heat our house, but that's going to save on propane
and propane accessories.
And I would rather be
next time
warm.
you're cold, here's what I want you to do.
No, the other day I had socks on, and I had a sweatshirt, and I had a blanket at my desk.
Next time you're cold, I want you to just stand in the corner for a little bit. It's 90 degrees
You're so
there.
lame.
It's
You're
90
lame.
degrees in the
You
corner.
are so lame.
Let's talk about the injury report again. Aaron Jones.
You're like, I'm going to get off this topic that I started because
Aaron Jones is out tonight with a hamstring injury. He was expected to play. I left him in my lineup, and now he's out, including the Pirate League. So if I don't win because of him, he's dead to me. Justin Jefferson, first game back from his injured reserve.
How does this feel for you?
It was not cool. Left the game with a chest injury. Monitor it. He is just questionable. But yeah, the fact that he comes back finally. I've been waiting for him to get back into my lineup, and then he's out of it just as quickly. Let's just keep this show moving and talk a little Sir Throws a Lot. What do you think?
I'm ready.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
Thank you, Jim. You want to kick it off?
Yes. And this is Sir Throws a Lot so far because we do have 4 teams playing tonight.
Tua could beat it.
Yes. But do you think Jordan Love isn't going to beat it? Do you think he's going to beat it?
Jordan Love's probably going to beat it. We are rooting for the Giants tonight because the Packers currently have the number 7 wild card spot, and the Bears are only 1 game behind them. So let's go, Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Okay. Anyway, so far, after this weekend's games, Trevor Lawrence is our Sir Throws a Lot tonight with 50 passing attempts in a loss to the Browns. You made me pick this game, and I picked poorly. He had 257 yards and 3 touchdowns with 3 interceptions.
I made you pick every game. You didn't do too bad.
Yeah. This one, what was the other one I failed on?
I can't remember.
The Jets won. Did the Jets win? No,
the Jets won.
Yeah,
you
they
picked
did.
them to
I
beat
did
the
pick
Texans.
them.
Yeah.
You always put this stupid pressure on me. It's like I don't pick games.
Pressure.
Knock it off.
It's a $3 bet.
I don't care. I don't like when you like. I want to win. I am a very competitive person, and I like to win. And if
one of these days you're going to hit one, and it's going to pay $1,000 or something.
Okay, one of these days.
Yeah.
And when you have me call all the games that are playing for the week, I'm going to miss one of them.
Well, while we're talking about the Browns.
Yeah, I have more to say about Sir Throws a Lot.
Okay. Well, I think it's what I was going to say.
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
Okay. 2nd week in a row that Joe Flacco is the runner-up for Sir Throws a Lot.
Yes.
He had 45 passing attempts, and he's been named the Browns starter for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so he wasn't. This is so confusing to me. He was named the starter for the rest of the year yesterday after the game, and then they put him on the practice squad today, which means other teams could technically sign him. I don't understand that move at all. At all. I don't get it. I don't get it. But we're going to talk about studs and duds and waivers in a minute here. But before we do, Miranda, why don't you tell them where they can get some information on placing better bets?
Yes. We are brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. You can win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets' revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for your entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value.
Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hufbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets.
Now, back to old-fashioned football.
You know, sometimes it's a
Thank you,
shame that
Jen.
people can't see me saying those because I am like this
You are
over
very
here.
animated. I know. I kind of do this because I'm worried about getting hit or maybe my drink going flying. Thank you, Jim Miller. Speaking of awesome quarterbacks, I got a message today
Ooh.
from Mr. Brian Scott with the jersey that he will be sending us.
And what's that say?
You want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
It says, J. Mark and Miranda, thanks for all your support. B. Scott, number 5. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's including a special hat for us. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
Forgot there's a happy hour going on right now.
SGPN happy hour. It's
Yes.
off the chain.
And we are missing it, which I'm bummed about. We should have planned this better, gone earlier or something.
I had a work meeting up until 10 minutes.
I
start.
did notice that. All right, let's talk a little studs and duds.
Yes, I've got the studs.
Yes, you do.
At quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, at quarterback. Jake Browning.
Joe Burrow is a system quarterback. It's the only reason he's good. Sorry, I heard that a lot today. Anyways, go on, because Jake Browning did so well in his place.
Yes. Projected 19.4, which is pretty good. But he finished with 31.45. And we also have Desmond Ridder projected 16.1. Where did this go? Yeah,
Right.
out of nowhere. He finished with 28.85.
He sucks. Sorry, he
Mhm.
does. But anyways,
At running back, we talked about this guy a lot on Thursday.
yeah, we
We
told
were
you all to
saying
start
we
him.
did say to start him. Ezekiel Elliott was projected 12.2. He finished with 23.5. And Chase Brown was projected 4.1, finished with 23.
I'm going to be talking about him a little bit later. Spoiler alert.
At wide receiver, Deebo Samuel was projected 14.1, finished with 36.5. And Drake London, I'm pissed about this, but that's fine. Whatever. He was projected 8.5 and he finished with 24.2. Really could have used that this weekend, except I sat him.
You could have, because you're only beating me by 14.
I know.
Anyways.
And I would have crushed you had
Yeah,
I not messed
you
up at
wouldn't have
quarterback.
crushed me.
Yes. Because
But it would've
Justin
been a very
Fields had
close
like
game.
26 points on my bench. That was 50 more points against you than
I
I
know.
currently have.
Right.
I would have crushed you. It makes me mad when I had the potential and I messed up.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Anyway, at tight end, you really are getting me going, Justin. No. At tight end, Evan Engram was projected 8.7, finished with 27 points. David Njoku was projected 8.8, finished with 24.1. And Isaiah Likely was projected 7.3 and finished with 21.8. I love seeing these tight ends get these numbers.
Yeah. So much that you had to put 3 of them in there.
3 of them, 3
But,
studs.
Yeah, those are big numbers for the tight ends. I was just thinking about our league and how I said like I might get the first or second seed. Is your Uncle Brent is in that league that we run.
Mhm.
And as soon as he was eliminated from the playoffs, he was pissed. He said he had scored the second most points, F you guys, blah, blah, blah. And that he was just going to play spoiler and try to beat everybody and ruin their seasons. He has done that every game since he's been eliminated. He has won. and he needs to win this game in order for me to jump into first or second. So I am pulling for him. Normally I am not. Let's talk about dud quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs, who got benched for Nick Mullins.
Mhm.
He was projected 17.8, finished with 5.25. Jalen Hurts, not looking good. That offense has some issues. Projected 25.6, finished with 10.85, and a loss to the Dallas Cowboys, where the Eagles offense only scored 2 field goals. Their defense is the only one that scored a touchdown. And then Jared Goof, we make him look like a goof. Projected 18.6. He finished with 8.05. You know, Jared Goff has, I think it's 10 interceptions this year. Maybe it's 11. No, it's 10. 9. Anyways, 5 of them have been against the Bears. So we have his number. Running backs, DeAndre Swift, we said sit him. We said don't be confident in starting him against that Cowboys defense. He was projected 11.6, finished with 3.9. Gus Bus, projected 9.6, finished with 1.5. Wide receivers that you do not expect to see on the dud list.
No, this hurt me too.
Jamar Chase, projected 14.1, finished with 4.4. Stephon Diggs, projected 13.2, finished with 4.4. And
This
then
hurt me too. Then I know you're done.
your favorite tight end, Sam Laporta, projected 10, finished with 3.7. Want because the Bears defense is a top 5
Yes.
defense now.
Out of nowhere, actually, out of that trade.
My dad says shoulda, woulda, coulda, by the way. I said it faster than he could type it, but yeah, shoulda, woulda, coulda started those players. Anyways, oh man, I am so bad about moving our clicker. We talked injury report. We talk Sir throws a lot. We talk studs and duds. Should we talk a little waivers?
It is time.
Because, like we said, it's playoffs. You
It
might
is.
need somebody. I mean, maybe you had Justin Herbert and you had CJ Stroud.
Maybe. I still need a quarterback in the dynasty league, so there's that.
Yeah, I know. I felt bad for you. There was no way Trevor Lawrence plays that game, and then they played him. He shouldn't have. Watching him move around, his mobility was not
I
good.
spent all my fab
To get CJ beat hard.
Mhm.
It's Beathard, but I like saying beat hard.
Yeah.
Before somebody's like, oh, it's Beathard. He doesn't know. We live in Iowa. We know how to say his name, damn it. Anyways, go on.
All right. Already mentioned him being a stud. Jake Browning filling in on the Bengals. He is rostered in 29.5% of leagues. He is moving from my stud list this week into my waiver wire
There you
additions.
go.
He's played well in the past 2 games. He's scored 34.7 and 31.45. Both good enough to have him finish as the QB4 of the week.
Yeah, I was going to say, those are big numbers.
Yes. They do have a little bit of a tough schedule for the fantasy football playoffs. The next 3 games, they play the Vikings, the Steelers, and then the Chiefs. However, I think he's going to be able to do some damage against those defenses. He also ran for a touchdown the past 2 weeks.
You think Mahomes will find some reason to throw a fit in that game?
I don't know. It's 3 weeks away. Let's see what comes.
Oh, man. Never seen Kermit the Frog so angry. Jake Browning, an excellent quarterback to pick up. He's playing very well. Joe Flacco is playing really well. What world are we living in?
I know. I'm debating, like, who do I go after here? I think I like the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, Flacco cannot move around very well.
I like the rushing ability.
I would go with the young guy.
Browning.
He also has better receivers to throw to.
Mhm.
So, yeah. But Joe Flacco rostered at only 4.4%, coming off a 29.34 performance. So, not in the 30s, but close enough. He's making the most of his opportunity to finish his career. He's 38 years old. This has to be close to the end for him, right? And this week against the Jags, he threw for 311 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Browns offense is clicking with Flacco. If only they had him there all year instead of that fraud Deshaun Watson. And he was named the starter the rest of the season, even though he's now back to the practice squad. But they play the Bears, which they're going to lose, the Texans, and then a revenge game for Flacco against the Jets. The Browns are trying to make a playoff push, so it's a big couple of weeks for them. Aside from that loss to the Bears, I think he's going to be able to move the ball on the Texans. Jets are a tough defense, but maybe you only need him in the semifinals against the Texans, and that elevates your game right there. but not against the top 5 unit that the Bears are,
No.
which is not a lie. They are, but in the
Yes.
past, since we got Montez Sweat, anyways.
Are you good?
Yeah.
You're good.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
One other thing. I know this is not a Bears podcast. This is a fantasy football and whiskey podcast, but Justin Fields became the second youngest player to ever rush for 2,000 yards and throw for 5,000 yards. So
There you go.
yeah.
Look at you whipping out
Don't
these
say,
stats.
don't give me this whole Justin Fields sucks. He does not suck.
No.
I know a lot of people think he does, but he doesn't. We got it running back.
All right.
I'm done now.
Stepping off your
Yeah.
bear-shaped soapbox. All right. I got Jerick McKinnon for the Chiefs. He's rostered in 36.6% of leagues. He had a decent game against the Bills. In fact, in the last 3 games he's played, he's had double digits in 2 of those. The Chiefs offense is struggling, and McKinnon.
Kinnick Stadium
I know.
for the Hawkeyes. I
McKinnon
understand.
is somebody who Mahomes can trust throwing the ball to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them get him more involved moving forward in the passing game, which is where he succeeds. I think that he could be a good flex piece option for you.
Yeah. And we saw towards the end of the year, his stock rose as they got closer to the playoffs.
Mhm.
So I agree that could happen. I'm going to go with Chase Brown, rostered in only 1.4% of leagues. The Bengals are getting him more and more involved. If you remember, if you're an OG and you listen back to when we had Colby Dant on here, I said I wanted the Bears to draft him. He's the kid out of Illinois. And Colby said that he actually thought he was the best all-around back behind Bajan in the draft, which is big words because, I mean, there were a lot of decent running backs such as Jahmyr Gibbs. And Colby Dant knows his college football for damn sure. And Chase Brown looked really good. 2 weeks ago, he had 9 carries for 61 yards. This week, he only had 8 for 25, but he had 3 receptions on 3 targets for 80 yards and a touchdown. So putting up some big numbers. Wide receivers.
Yes. Let's move on to that. Demarcus Robinson of the Rams is rostered in basically no leagues, 0.1% of leagues. But I want to throw him on my waiver list because over the last 3 weeks, we've seen Demarcus Robinson's snap share increase while Tutu Atwell's snap share is decreasing. So this last week against the Ravens, he played 86% of the snaps and was targeted 10 times. While he only brought 3 of those in, he had 46 yards and a touchdown. And then in the past 5 games, his yards per catch has been 12 or more, which that's exciting. And he's had back-to-back weeks with a touchdown. Stafford is starting to trust him a lot more. And while defenses, they focus on Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Because Cooper Kupp
is Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
So Robinson could continue to pull in targets and touchdowns. And, defenses are not going to be targeting him.
Right.
But
you can't cover them all.
No. And their next 3 games, they go against Washington, New Orleans, and the Giants. Washington and the Giants, bad. They're pretty bad defenses.
Yeah, not great.
New Orleans, the Saints are defense. They're decent. The Saints defense is decent.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the Rams, man, they look good. I did not expect them to be able to keep up with the Ravens. I really like the Rams, but the Ravens I thought were at a different level. Obviously, we watched that game get pushed into overtime, so that was interesting. My wide receiver is Parker Washington, rostered in 2.4%. This is another guy we talked about during the preseason as a potential stash candidate out of Penn State. Parker Washington had a lot of college success with Sean Clifford throwing to him. That's like the 3rd string, maybe 4th string of the Packers. Anyways, he stepped into Christian Kirk's role after Christian Kirk got hurt and has 2 touchdowns playing in that spot. He was targeted more last week compared to this week. However, I think that was more of playing a talented Cleveland Browns defense. During the fantasy football playoffs, he does go against the Ravens to start, which, I mean, the Rams could move the ball on them. I don't know if the Jaguars will, but then he gets Tampa Bay for the semifinals, which could make him a really good flex piece because they are looking his way more. He's getting much more playing time with Christian Kirk out. Christian Kirk's out indefinitely. I don't think he'll be back unless they do make the playoffs. which your fantasy football playoffs will be done by then. So it doesn't matter. Parker Washington out of Penn State. I'm excited to see him get some success. And so is my boss's boss and listener, John Grimm, who is a big Penn State fan. He's excited to see him doing well too. Tight ends?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I
What do you
got to
got?
say this. Hunter Henry.
What? I think you meant Hunter Henry. Yeah.
Yes. He is rostered in 16.2% of leagues. I feel like a lot of people dropped him after the start of the year.
Yeah.
After scoring, he scored 2 touchdowns this week. I don't know if he's back to being reliable, if we can count on seeing that going forward, but he scored double-digit fantasy points in half PR his first 2 weeks, which it was like, I know we talked about him earlier this season. And then since then, he's only done that twice. One of those weeks was week 9 against Washington, and now this past week against the Steelers. I really think Hunter Henry is maybe more touchdown dependent for fantasy relevance. Unless Bailey Zappi can build on this last week's performance and win, you know.
They started fast. I was surprised.
Yeah, I mean the Patriots offense words, Justin, it's been Monday. They look somewhat efficient.
They did. And against the Steelers defense, it's not a horrible defense. Yeah.
Who do you got?
Mine is Davis Allen. I know everybody's going, huh? Who dat? Rostered in 0% of leagues. The Rams offense, we already said, clicking on all cylinders. They were able to keep up with the Rams. Tyler Higbee was out. I think he will miss a couple more games. Hunter Long was supposed to be his replacement. He was carted off the field in what looked like a pretty bad injury. I'm going to assume he's out for the season. Enter Davis Allen. He entered the game for the injured Hunter Long, and on that same drive caught a touchdown pass. He was targeted 5 times, catching 4 of them for 50 yards and a touchdown. Now, I don't know if he can reproduce those numbers. You'll have to monitor that. However, tight end is such a thin position. I have one where I'm going to pick him up because my starting tight end, sadly enough, is Durham Smith out of Miami, who is not doing shit.
No.
So I'm going to pick up Davis Allen, and hopefully he can get me at least a couple more points. And he could be the guy to get you just some points each week, because if you're very thin like me with Durham Smythe at tight end, you just need something. So Davis Allen could be that guy in a fast offense. So that's our waivers.
Yes.
We should probably talk a little bit of whiskey.
Yes, we should.
Do you want to talk about the whiskey?
I do. I'd love to.
I know we're not going to go in super depth because...
No. Well, we are drinking, like I said earlier, we're drinking Driftless Glen Rye because we were lucky enough for your parents to bring this home for us from their trip up to Galena.
Yes.
We have not been able to find it.
No.
And I'm going to talk about the bottle in a little bit, but we had Renee Bemis and her we had Renee Bemis on our podcast back on episode 72.
Yes, that is correct.
Yep. So just if you didn't get a chance.
Did you want that?
I did. If you didn't get a chance to hear that, it was a really fun interview that we had. We had a really good time on the show with her. So
she's a fun, very fun person.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep. So Driftless Glen, the distillery is located in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Renee and her husband started the distillery, and she was really awesome on our show. I just have to say that again. Yeah. We had a really good time.
She's also a sculptor.
Yes.
The one thing that jumped out at me.
We didn't know how well known of a sculptor she is. And we started looking more into her artwork after.
She did the Husky sculpture outside of Northern Illinois University Stadium. And she had told us she had just got done doing a sculpture for Deion Sanders.
Yes.
So, which was a buffalo with a gold chain and a whistle on it. But anyways, very fun person.
Yes. But they discovered a region with peat, bogs, and a great aquifer and uncommon sandy soils for grains to grow. What?
Oh, I'm smelling and tasting.
Okay, I was like, your
very
face over
pleased
there.
Over here.
And this specific combination of temperature, water, soil, and weather, they all combine to help form their products right there in Baraboo. And they take pride in their 10,000 pound, 44 foot tall.
I bet I could lift it.
Could you?
No.
All right. Moving on. Column still, along with their one of a kind pot still, using local Midwest grain and water from the Driftless region. They produce and barrel bourbon or rye daily and are always happy to demonstrate how important superior distillation is.
Yeah, the Driftless region actually does part of that does flow into Iowa. There is the Driftless region there. It's a really popular spot for the streams. The Driftless streams are very popular spots for trout fishing. I completely blanked at what I was going to say.
The Driftless region
Not
flows
the
into
Driftless. Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Jerk.
in October, they change all their labels pink in
Yes.
support of breast cancer. They also put some barrels that they're painted pink, and people can sign them. You can get your name put on them. And if you don't remember, they were kind enough to send a bottle to Gary and his wife Michelle, who has battled breast cancer. Gary is a very well known in the IDP fantasy football community. Go make sure you check out everything he's doing, IDP Tipster, because he's still putting out a lot of great stuff. But yeah, they were kind enough to send them a bottle with Michelle's name on it,
and
which
the
was
pink
just,
label.
yeah,
and-
unprompted. We just kind of mentioned that, like, hey, he was at SGPN and did this, yada yada, and they were just so quick to be like, oh, we need to get them a bottle. So that was very
it was
cool.
really neat.
Yes.
And
Sorry, and Gary said that he and Michelle both cracked open the bottle, which he did not think they were going to get to drink. He thought she would want to
just keep it.
Yeah. And he was very impressed with it. They really liked it.
I love their products. Speaking of their products, so when we had Renee on the show with us, we had tried their bourbon and their Bourbon de Naranja.
Yes.
And let me tell you.
Tell me.
If anyone can get their hands on a bottle of that Bourbon de Naranja, you need to. Do not hesitate. It's only available at the distillery.
Yes.
So if you're in Baraboo, Wisconsin, you should really stop on by. It sounds like they have a really... Sorry, I'm talking to America here, and you keep cutting in.
That's fair. That's fair. You are talking to America.
But their distillery is somewhere I really want to go visit.
I was gonna say we need to do that next year. That's what I was going to throw.
That's what you're going to throw. Yes. Well, I got it covered, Justin.
Fair enough.
And but yeah, if you're in that region, it sounds like they have a really neat setup there.
Yes.
In a beautiful area.
I want you to try this before, and I'll talk about it, but go ahead with your...
Yeah, I also wanted to point out the bottle.
Yes.
Because where did they get their bottle imported from? France.
Yes.
So they have their bottles made in France, and they designed everything about this. So let me hold this up. We
still need to do RD's idea.
I know.
Hey, the price is on the back. We asked them how much it was, and they couldn't remember. The tag's right on the back.
Well, let me, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway,
it's a gift.
Very, very high quality glass, very heavy. I love this bottle. I love their bottles. And then on each side, you can see that right there. Turn it this way. And then this side. You're like, I'm done with you fidgeting with this.
Yes. And then the back as well. But the thumbprints.
It's her and her husband's thumbprints on each side of the bottle. And I think that is just so cool.
Yeah, it's an ode to them touching each bottle or touching all their product, basically. That it's not just some mass-produced thing, that it is unique, and they have a touch in each part of it. I want you to smell it and taste it. I already know what I'm getting from it, but I want you to smell and taste it while I talk a little bit about it. We are drinking the rye whiskey, which it's a small batch rye, and that consists of about 20 barrels that are hand selected by their distillers and then combined together. It's bottled at 96 proof, and it's a high rye mash bill of small batch preserves that grains distinct spice even after years of age in the Wisconsin Rack House. This has gotten a gold medal at the San Francisco
Mhm.
World Spirits Competition in 2022, silver in the Whiskeys of the World in 2023, 86 points and silver medal in 2023 for the U.S. Spirits rating, a London competition or London Spirits Competition silver medal in 2022, and then the silver in 2017. That was its first in the Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of America. What are you getting from it? Because I get two
trying
or
to-
three things very distinctly.
Trying to think. I'm really stuffed up today. One of the things that went sideways with my Monday.
My mother says, get the gavel out for the next time I interrupt you while you're talking to America. My dad said, I didn't have to remember. I showed you the credit card statement. I don't remember that. Are we sure that he showed us the credit card statement? It's the price that we kind of discussed it either way, but I do find it funny. We were trying to look for the price and it's right on the back.
I don't know what I'm getting off the smell. What are you smelling? Because my nose is too stuffy.
I know I had to plug one nostril because it's stuffed. So at the very beginning of this, while Miranda was talking, if you saw me over here, I was not snorting anything off my glass. I was just trying to smell better. Honestly, it just smells like a really nice rye spice. Rye spice. But the
Mhm.
taste is what jumps at me. I get 2, maybe 3 things very distinctly in the taste besides a rye whiskey spice.
Hold on. I need a moment.
Okay, she needs a moment. I'm gonna just talk about how that this stuff is very good. This is their third product that we've tried. We've
Did you
enjoyed
say what
all of them.
proof it is?
It is 96 proof. I did
Mhm.
say that. Bottled at 96. I like the windmill that is raised on the back. And yeah, it is good stuff. What are you getting over there, Mur? Or do you want me to throw out what I'm getting? I don't want to influence you. That's
Are you
why I'm
getting
hesitant.
cinnamon?
No.
No.
I get no cinnamon.
You're
But
like,
that's okay.
no.
That's okay if you do.
Two very distinct things. No.
No. But that
What
not
is
one
the
of them.
spice that I'm getting?
I'm getting chocolate and tobacco. And I'm right. But that doesn't mean you're getting that.
right.
Well, that doesn't mean you're getting it, because no matter what you taste, you're right.
You're like,
remember?
and I'm right. But that
I knew
doesn't
you'd
mean
get
you
a kick
are.
out of that. No, I'm saying that doesn't mean you're wrong. That's all.
You know, maybe it's the tobacco that I can't pin.
That's chocolate and tobacco to me.
I don't know if I get chocolate.
Take a bigger gulp of it. I know you're a sipper, but take a bigger gulp, because I just took a big gulp and it was very chocolatey.
That big gulp is clearing my sinuses.
Well, there you go. Now you can smell it.
Maybe a little. A
Yeah,
little
I get
chocolate.
that a lot, and a little of tobacco, and then your rye spice.
It's very
like this.
spicy.
Yeah, this is really good. I
Mhm.
really like it.
It's very good.
She had said, like a lot of people tell us that the rye is their favorite
Mm-hmm.
out of the rye and bourbon. She said they're both good, but a lot of people say the rye is the favorite. I'd have to taste the bourbon again to remember.
I think I would have to as well, but I do know that I have not found something lately that I like as much as their Bourbon de Naranja,
yeah,
which they finished
it
in
was very good.
Naranja barrels from
Spain? That sounds
Spain?
right. I don't know.
I don't remember. But yeah, now a tequila distiller producer
That's like,
has bought up
where are
all
you
of
going
those
with
orange
this?
barrels, and I really think that Bourbon de Naranja is very limited. So really, if you can get your hands on a bottle, you should buy it.
It's finished in orange infused sherry barrels. Just so you
Yes,
know.
orange infused sherry
But no,
barrels, but
from Spain.
from Spain.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
but there's a lot of orange in that bourbon.
There is. Agreed.
It's almost like just an old fashioned ready to go, except it's not an old fashioned ready to go.
Right. Yeah. No,
It's
you could just pour
bourbon
it on
finished with-
ice. and-
Yeah,
yeah.
it's oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. We definitely need to visit there next year, buy the
Mhm.
rest of the bottles that they have of that.
Complete
that
the collection.
Yeah, so that we have it. No, I just mean all the Bourbon de Naranja that they have
oh,
left.
or okay.
But we can.
They have other they do have other bottles that you can just get at the distillery.
Yeah, they have some specialty stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
have a 51 rye, which is barely rye. It's just 51% rye. They have a small batch bourbon, or not a single barrel bourbon, and a single barrel rye as well. So those are probably a little bit higher proofed. They also make brandy, gin, and vodka. But as you know, we deal with bourbon and whiskeys and ryes and stuff like that. And their brandy, though, is supposed to be quite good.
Yeah, I would really like to try that.
Yes, small batch straight bourbon whiskey, single barrel whiskey, which are the ones we tried, the Bourbon de Naranja, and then they have the small batch straight rye, the single barrel straight rye, and then the 51 rye that I was talking about. I think
a lot of ryes. It's so exciting. I want to try those.
That 51 rye, I believe, is the one where it you can only get that at the distillery as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and each label has a little different like color. So this one is obviously green. The bourbon that we had was orange, I believe.
Yep.
And the Bourbon de Naranja, I can't quite remember.
It was
off
copper.
The top of my copper. Okay, there you go. Do you have anything else not that you have to add, that you want to add?
That you have to add if you must.
If you must.
If you must. No, I actually I like this. This is a cocktail, like a old fashioned rye for me.
Mm-hmm.
It really complements the
I wish I had tasted it before, because picture this old fashioned with your orange bitters that I put in it. We ran out of Angostura, so there's barely any of that, but no Angostura, and add some of the cocoa bitters we just bought.
We bought cocoa bitters.
I feel like that would complement this whiskey very well.
Didn't we? I had looked into making cocoa bitters in the past, and I was like, okay, this is a complicated process.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go save my time right now. Someday I want to make my own cocoa bitters, but I'm just gonna go buy it when I see it.
Yeah.
But wasn't this what stemmed it? Because she gave us her recipes.
She did. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they do make their own bitters in house. Yes.
But I thought that cocoa bitters was in something.
It might be.
I'd
have to relook.
Yeah. Anyway, if you listen to that episode, go back and listen to it. You'll have that answer.
That's right. Miranda, do you have anything else you would like to add?
I would like to add that we failed on our giveaway.
No, we said till this coming Thursday.
I thought we
The
said we were
start of
going to revisit.
playoffs.
Okay, never mind. We didn't fail yet.
We said the start of playoffs,
Give
which
us
is
some credit
Thursday.
back.
So get your entries in, and we will pick a winner on Thursday.
Start of Thursday. I did say Thursday. See?
Yes. Good luck in the rest of your matches tonight. There are 2 games. The Dolphins face the Titans. The Packers face the Giants. You need to win for your playoffs. Good luck getting into the playoffs. We hope you make it, and come right on back here on Thursday so that we can talk a little start sit. We have a special episode coming up with the boys from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Going to do a little fun crossover episode where, maybe you don't know a lot of NASCAR. These guys are going to educate you. We're going to talk a little fantasy football. We're going to talk a little racing. They're fun to listen to, whether you like racing. We're going
to try a specialty whiskey.
We are
from Whistle Pig.
And I have to admit, I tried it this weekend because I poured them little bottles to send them. Don't tell Uncle Sam about that. But I poured them little bottles, and I had to try just a little taste of it. And oh my goodness, it is good. So you're going to want to tune in so you know what you need to order, because it is really friggin' good. Murray, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good.
All right, everybody, good luck tonight. And we will see you on Thursday. Going once, going twice.
So.
Old-fashioned football.